Hi there, I'm here at Embedded World 2024 and I'm on the DigiKey stand, and I'm pleased today to be joined by Mark Oliver, who is the VP of Marketing at Efinix. So thank you very much for joining us, Mark. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me.
So today we're going to chat a little bit about the company, what makes you different, and then have a little chat about what you've got coming up in the pipeline.
Okay.
But to start with, why don't you give us a brief introduction of yourself and your role at the company?
Okay, well, like you said, I'm the VP of Marketing. As you might tell, you have a similar accent to me. I grew up in the UK. I'm now resident in California. I'm living in Cupertino, which is where we have our headquarters.
Fantastic. Better weather, I imagine, in the UK?
Much better weather, yes.
Excellent. So give us an overview of the company then. What is it that you specialise in?
Okay, so we're an FPGA company. If people aren't familiar with FPGAs, it's essentially a blank piece of silicon, and you can program into it whatever functionality you want.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a perfect solution. It's the perfect chip. Except the technology goes back about 40 years.
Yep.
And it's been evolving over that 40-year period, and frankly carries 40 years of inefficiency with it.
Yeah.
So what we did was we took a look about 10 years ago. We said, if we project where this is going, it's not going to end well.
No.
It's not going to satisfy the requirements of edge compute. It's not going to give us the kind of performance and power profile that we need for the next generation of applications.
Yeah, true.
So we said, time out, let's stop, let's rethink what it means to be an FPGA.
Yeah.
We completely re-architected it, and we came up with a device which is lower power, smaller, more cost effective, and that gives us a path to taking an FPGA from the lab right out into volume manufacture, which cuts time to market, it cuts NRE, it completely eliminates risk from the design cycle.
You make that sound very easy. I imagine it wasn't, though.
It took us 10 years. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what are some of your key attributes that make you stand out in the market, would you say?
It really is that ability to put together a field programmable array, a blank piece of silicon that you can program, to completely replace custom silicon with a low power profile in a very small footprint that fits beautifully in edge compute.
And what would you say these attributes mean to industry and to your customers?
So if you're trying to put an edge compute application out there, I'm trying to put a chip into a camera on a pole way out at the far edge of the network.
Yeah.
You don't have forced air cooling. You don't have unlimited access to power. You don't have a very large area to put this thing in because it's a small camera. So the attributes that we have as an FPGA is that you can now put our device out at the edge. It fits in the tiniest of little industrial cameras. It doesn't need forced cooling. It doesn't need active thermal management. Mm-hmm. And it's of a size and density that you've now got adequate headroom to put in camera applications, layer in artificial intelligence, all of the new smarts that are coming out at that intelligent edge. Okay,
so give us an overview of the product families that you've got in the company. You know, you've got a complete portfolio of products that span pretty much every application, right? So.
Yeah, we do. So our first family of products is called Trion.
Okay.
So that went from about 4,000 logic elements up to 120,000. We looked at what we'd learned doing Trion, and we said, all right, well, let's re-architect that again. Let's see if we can make it better, higher performance, lower power.
Yeah.
So we put it into a 16 nanometer process, and we came out with the Titanium product line. Titanium starts at 35,000 logic elements and goes up to 1 million.
Okay.
So that becomes a very high performance, very capable, and again, low power FPGA that we can deploy at the edge.
Yeah, definitely. And how would you say that your product portfolio in particular helps customers revolutionize that smart edge that you've been talking about?
If you take the traditional approach, if you wanted to put together an industrial camera, you're going to have to create custom silicon to do that, or use some kind of ASSP, which is probably going to be a compromise. But if you go the custom silicon solution, you're into $30 million of design. You're into a 5-year development cycle, and you're going to incur huge amounts of risk doing that.
Yep.
With our products, you can start in the lab with a development kit, and we have a bunch of them. You can put together that application, you can debug it, you can bring it out. When you think you have the performance and the functionality that you need, you can deploy it in the field directly.
Okay.
So zero NRE, very fast time to market, and zero risk.
Brilliant. So what's new then, and what are you showing at your booth at Embedded World this week?
So we're proudly showing our new device, our Titanium 375. So that's the first device that we've put high-speed SerDes into.
Okay.
So we have 16 gig SerDes in that device, which gives us both 10 gig Ethernet and PCIe Gen 4. So that gives us high-speed connectivity out to edge devices and hosts.
Okay.
It has a quad-core RISC-V processor built in. So that gives us gigahertz performance on a compute complex embedded right down inside the FPGA.
Brilliant.
And it gives us all of the same LVDS, IOs, and connectivity that you'd expect with the Titanium family right across the line.
Okay, and I understand that the TI-375 contains a high-performance RISC-V core. So what's the significance of that?
If you look at designing with FPGAs, they're not trivial. I've got to say, they're not trivial. So either you have to learn a hardware description language and you have to program up the FPGA that way, or we can take the approach that people like ARM have taken for the longest time, that you program in software in C, and then you accelerate that application in custom silicon or hardware. With a quad-core RISC-V processor at gigahertz performance, we now have all of the horsepower that you're going to need for bringing up an application in software with 370,000 logic elements of FPGA sitting right next to it.
Yeah.
So you can bring up your application really fast using the thousands of software engineers that are out there in the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
Then you can accelerate it in the FPGA fabric progressively, putting more and more hardware accelerators into it until you get the performance that you need out of the FPGA. So that gives you a really fast time to market from a very large pool of developers. And it takes away the risks because you're only putting in the acceleration elements that you need to accelerate the application. And once you get the performance that you need, you can stop.
And what types of applications is this going to unlock then?
So traditionally, we fit very well into video applications where people want to do video enhancement and all of the stuff that you do to video before you can process it. Increasingly, the people that we're talking to these days want to do AI.
Of course.
So we can now take AI algorithms, so the data movement part of it. We can bring data onto our chip over that DDR interface or over the PCI or the Ethernet very fast. And then we can accelerate the AI in the fabric of the FPGA. And the significance of that is that if you look at AI algorithms, they like to run in parallel.
Yeah.
So you need to split them up. You need to do very fast, very deterministic processing on those models. And that's exactly what FPGAs do. We can create a model in that FPGA that is a perfect implementation of that AI model.
Yeah.
Something that you can't do if you're trying to program it in software.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's the natural architecture for just absorbing AI models.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's software defined still. So as these AI models change, and they seem to monthly lately, you can now put in a new model, program it up, train it, figure out that there's a better one out there now, throw that out and put another one in. You don't have to redesign your custom silicon every time. You've got the perfect scratch pad for putting that AI together.
Brilliant. And I'd like to deep dive a little bit more into the automotive industry because I understand that you've just rolled out an automotive program.
Yep.
So why are your FPGAs a good fit for automotive applications?
So if you look at what's happening in the automotive industry, traditionally cars, they had analog gauges, and that's all gone. They've got displays in there right now.
Yeah.
They've got driver assistance. They've got sensors all around the vehicle, whether they be radar, LiDAR, ultrasonics, cameras, you name it. All of that belongs to a field of electronics that's evolving unbelievably quickly.
Yeah.
So it fits in there with AI, the radar, LiDARs, and the data fusion that you need to extract intelligence from that changes monthly.
Yeah.
A car, when you're designing it, has a 5 to 10 year development life cycle. So you end up designing in hardware into that vehicle and obsoleting it before the vehicle actually makes it into production. When you obsolete normal hardware, you have to requalify it. And requalifying automotive electronics is expensive, time-consuming, and suboptimal.
Yeah.
If you were to put like a titanium Efinix FPGA into that vehicle, you've got a standard hardware platform that you can now evolve and innovate with over time.
Yeah.
You don't have to throw it away. It's a blank scratch pad that absorbs those new techniques, technologies, models in real time. So it's a perfect development platform that, again, is priced effectively so that you can roll it straight out into production when your vehicle goes to market.
Brilliant. And I'd like to go back to AI again, seeing as you mentioned it. You know, among all the possible sort of computing applications that require massive levels of processing power,
Yep.
AI is arguably near the top of the list. So,
Undoubtedly.
Can you talk about some of the challenges around embedded AI in particular?
So one of the challenges with AI, particularly if you're going to embed it, traditionally in embedded processing you'd do sequential processing in a normal processor, and you'd try and do that in code. If you're not going to do that, you have to design custom hardware. No longer cost effective, so don't even think about it. So with AI in an FPGA, what you're able to do is take a hardware approach, parallelize up the model so that you're getting a very fast compute performance out of the FPGA.
Yeah.
And a very deterministic model, because you can now say how long that AI model is going to take to run. And if you're doing that in a vehicle, since we were talking automotive, you need to be able to say that if you're doing driver assistance, that model is going to run in a certain number of microseconds or milliseconds. Having it run on a sequential processor where it happens and completes when it completes in best effort is not appropriate.
Yeah.
So a hardware-assisted, a hardware-accelerated platform is just the ideal fit.
Makes sense. Okay, so moving on from that then, I'm interested to hear how your partnership with DigiKey works and sort of is, you know, beneficial to your customers.
Yeah, we've partnered with DigiKey for many years now.
Yeah.
DigiKey do a great job for us. They do all of our fulfillment, so we're able to engage with customers. Customers are able to get our parts, whether it be development kits, samples, low volume quantities, and get support from DigiKey as a corporation. So it's really an extension of our sales and support arm.
Okay.
We're very grateful for the help they give us.
Brilliant. And finally then, if people would like to find out more about your solutions, where's the best place for them to go?
The website, undoubtedly.
Okay.
So that's www.efinixinc.com.
Okay.
We've got a profile of all of our products there. The support center is excellent.
Yep.
So all of the documentation, data sheets, spec sheets, quality manuals, they're all up there on the support center. So go check them out.
Excellent. And of course, for anyone at the show this week, don't forget to pop by the stand to check out all the products as well. So,
it's crazy here.
I know. It's great though, right? Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your insights, Mark. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Very welcome. Pleasure.
Thank you.